Hi, everybody. I'm Heather Sieg, and I am very happy to welcome you all to the panel for the movie Freeland at the 33rd Annual 2020 Virginia Film Festival. We are doing this a little bit differently this year because of the world circumstances, but we have several members of the cast and crew here with us, and I would like to start by asking them to each introduce themselves. We can start with Krisha.
I'm in the upper left corner on my screen. So, hi, I'm Krisha Fairchild, and I play Debbie in the film.
I'm Laura Heberton. I'm the producer of the film.
I'm Mario Furloni. I'm one of the directors and writers of the film.
I'm Frank Mosley. I'm one of the actors in the film.
And Mario is also the cinematographer, too.
Yes. Great. Well, it's so wonderful to have you all here. I personally really enjoyed this film, both from a mesmerizing visual perspective, the natural light and the scenery, and then the way that the soundtrack plays in, both the natural sounds and the music, I just found really captivating. So Mario, just absolutely beautiful. So this film is about a woman who has been in the black market cannabis industry for her entire life, and now capitalism has come in and reared its ugly head, and it's no longer for her she's no longer able to do what she's done her entire life because of restrictions that are put into place and because of people with money coming in and taking over an industry that she loves very dearly. Can you guys let me know just a little bit about what drew you to this topic? Because I think that it is very relevant across lots of industries, whether it's new technology coming in and pushing older people out, or if it's new regulations that are making it impossible for people who have been in the industry for a long time to kind of adapt. What drew you to this topic, and then how did you decide to study it within the black market cannabis industry?
So Kate, who's the co-director, co-writer with me, and I, we met in grad school when we worked on a documentary together back in 2010, set in the same town that later would go back to film Freeland. And ever since we've been trying to figure out what's the next film there, because we loved going there. We fell in love with the place, fell in love with the people that we met, and we wanted to go back and do more stories there. And we started working on scripts about 7 years ago. We met Laura, an amazing producer, who came on board about 6 years ago or so. And the story sort of changed a lot because we were adapting both to what we thought would be the best personal story to tell, but then also adapting to the real world and then how things were changing, particularly when full legalization hit California, right? And so when that happened, things changed a lot, and that's when we really focused on the single character and someone who's, like you said, has found a way to be independent and kind of to live sort of outside of the system, right? And then the system crashing down on her. And we met Krisha, and everything fell into place after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that really stood out to me was that you all filmed this on location in Northern California among real farms, real growers, the people that are really living and breathing this scary, that very quickly changing world around them. And I, know through articles I've read, personal anecdotes I've heard from friends who live out there, and, other documentaries and things, that it can be very dangerous, especially within the black market out there. And I'm wondering how you guys as a crew, you guys as actors, were able to kind of infiltrate that very kind of secretive society, and be able to, tell the story in a much more accurate way, and actually be able to shoot on these locations.
I mean, I think the secretive aspect of it is what made us want to do it as a fictionalized
Right.
version of the story instead of doing a doc, right? Like, there's always a limit of how complete a picture we could get because of access issues, right? Like, and we would hear these amazing stories and we wanted to incorporate it, but we knew we never wanted to do something with people with blacked out faces or that kind of, like they're sort of
Right.
like, hiding their identities and things like that. So, and things really changed from 10 years ago when we started going there to now. I mean, when we were scouting locations for the film, we had one person in the crew, Claire Weisbluth, who is a filmmaker, but also grew up there. And so she made the introductions for most of the locations we have in the film. The main cabin that we filmed is her stepdad's cabin that he built by hand. So and our whole idea was to keep it as close to reality as possible, both on locations, but also when we found Krisha and when Frank came on board, and trying to give them as much material and letting them create their characters as close to the reality of the place as possible. So
I would say from my standpoint, they did a lot of smart things, Kate and Mario and Laura. They put us in a community setting while we were shooting. We weren't bringing big trailers and Jenny trucks and things like that. We were very low key, very stealth on our own way of working. And also, I got a lot of, you're an actress, you look just like us. That very bright. I mean, the people that they brought in, we all fit into that community. I was the perfect age for it. The whole time I was up there, I met exactly one person who spoke negatively to me about the cannabis industry in their town. I was kind of surprised because everyone else had been so open about the fact that, yeah, well, they can call us outlaws, but we built the schools, we built the libraries, we pay taxes, we contribute to the community. We're they can call us outlaws if they want. And the one person that I met was so negative, and I found out later she was the sheriff's wife.
Well, that's
She shouldn't have been negative, really, because everybody else was keeping the sheriff in business.
Yeah, but she saw it. See, for her, the shift was happening now, so they could make it a respectable place to live. Now, she was also kind of a church lady type person. So I think there was that a little bit in the undercurrents. We didn't run into it much. We did get locked onto a road one night late after we finished shooting, and there were some moments during which we were a little bit concerned about, because it was pretty much, Mario, the most isolated place we had shot, right? And we took a road back into a place that was still black market, and we had Claire, so we got out of it okay. It's literally, she vouched for us. And
we could not have made the film without Claire Weisbluth. I have said many, many times, this is not to put down Kate and Mario's tremendous contribution, but that this is the little, it's a film by Claire Weisbluth, because it wasn't just the access. Claire also, even early on when we were working on the scripts, just saying, no, somebody wouldn't act like that. They wouldn't say that. These people would not interact this way, just in a very gentle and lovely way, but just, right? I mean, she really deeply understood the community. And Kate and Mario had spent a lot of time going up there, and, as documentarians, they really do absolutely watch and listen and learn, so.
But there was that insider outsider culture is still very present, right? In having someone who was very much so an insider, who had worked with a lot of the people who knew them personally, who that kind of that was invaluable, honestly. And a lot of information, when is the harvest happening? Because we had to time it exactly, and as people who grow know, it can be a matter of days, it can be a matter of a week of days, even, of when we would be ready. And so we had to, for instance, change the day that we would film the harvest scene, because we got a call from the farm where we're going to shoot, and he said, hey, I think I have some mail plants here. I need to deal with it. So I think we're going to take down this greenhouse today. Can you come here and film it? Because otherwise, you're out of luck. And we're like, yes, let's change everything. Let's hop in the car. Let's go.
Seize the day for sure.
Yeah.
So, had any of the actors spent time in Northern California at all? Or I know that, Krisha, you said that after filming, you discovered that one of your high school friends has been a grower in the area for a long time. Did you guys have any other personal connections to the area? Or did, most of your inspiration come from Mario, you guys spending so much time there over the past 10 years, or do you guys have any other personal connections kind of to the industry or to the area itself?
Well, John Craven, the guy who played Ray, lives up in that area.
Right.
And my friend Frank Mosley is a Texas boy, so I would imagine he knows some farmers of some ilk.
Some farmers, but not up that way.
But not up that way.
Yeah, so everything, I feel like I came on fairly quickly, so it was kind of like gorging on as much material as I could. Reading a book, Humboldt by Emily Brady, that Mario and Krisha recommended me was so important and useful and helpful. And then just like looking at the lookbooks that Mario and Kate had put together were beautiful, that were just like portraits of people who lived there, to kind of get an idea of wardrobe and look and tone and these kind of archetypes of the area that are there. And that kind of helped us form characters, at least for me.
Yeah.
Frank had just also come out of a project where he played someone who was a farmer, right? And you had spent a year in a farm, like actually learning how to farm, right?
Yeah, I was in a drama. It was called Some Beasts, and the way that we integrated into the community in that film, in order to kind of build a trust between the cast and crew and the actual farmers who we were working with, was very similar to Freeland. And it was, it's a slow wading in. And I didn't have as much time like with Freeland in that respect as I did with the other film, but the other film definitely, I think, helped prep me for that kind of working. There's a lot of respect involved and a lot of just trust and getting to share space and time and meals together. And again, Claire was such a important consultant. I mean, there'd be times where I would like something small, I would just lean in and ask Claire or something, because she was like this magical oracle that could just tell us, what we needed in a moment. So it was really helpful.
And also, Krisha, tell about the farmers market too.
Okay. I was going to tell about the trimmers. Actually, the trimmers taught us to trim. I mean, we came into a room and there was a mix-up, right, Mario? They were supposed to not be working that day, and then they were working that day. And the Mario and Kate kind of talked to them and said what we were doing, and we can keep you out of it. We can just show your hands, and they were all like, yeah, whatever, And so they had to teach us how to trim, and I'm like here with my rather odd hand. And they're trying to show me all this real quick stuff with scissors. I'm thinking, I ran and told Mario, you'll have to always be on someone else's hands. You can't trust my hands. My hands won't do it. But I went to the farmer's market every time I had a day off, and I picked up, one of the little anecdotes that to me was very touching. There was a couple there selling vegetables, and everybody in the community was coming around, and they were all talking about letters. And I realized they were talking about getting their letters of violation, the same thing that our story was about. And so I'm looking at these people that are selling like zucchini and tomatoes and stuff. And I just, kind of eavesdrop enough that I walk over and I said, you don't grow vegetables for a living, do you? And they went, no, this is our personal garden. But, we have to raise the money for the fines. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Another interesting thing that I think people wonder about that no one's ever asked me, the weed that we used in the movie was given to us.
Really? I was going to ask about that. Well, I was really just going to ask, like, how high were you on set? But
that's the real question, isn't it?
I've been like a doper since 69, but I was.
I can't believe,
because I can't remember.
Heather,
lines.
you're the first person who's asked that, and I cannot believe, I've been waiting for somebody to ask that. There you
Because
go.
I asked that everybody did. Maybe not me
Every
if I had
time.
I would hope so. Geez.
No, but can you imagine? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to give a spoiler, but there was one scene that used a rather large quantity. And it was, I'm not giving away anything by saying it was in somebody's shed because it had mold.
Okay.
And they weren't able to do anything with it. And then the other guy who gave us another big load was a guy who wasn't going legal and wasn't able to sell it. And he was just going around the community, giving it away as a goodwill gesture to people. Boy, that's a hell of a community, huh?
That sure is.
It's amazing.
Absolutely. My word. So you guys really did get a great experience of kind of integrating into the community and meeting some groovy people along the way. So you filmed all of this obviously before coronavirus. I just wanted to kind of ask you guys, you know, one, how are you all doing? How are you holding up? And two, how have you kind of been able to adapt to still get, you know, this beautiful film out there and to still get your voices and the message out in front of people without being able to do it face to face?
It's tough. I mean, you know, it's hard. You know, we were going to premiere at South by, which was the first festival to get shut down. And then we put the brakes on, and then Laura came back in the late summer and said, hey, guys, it's time. Let's get the movie. Let's start getting this movie out. And I'm so happy that we have, because it's the hardest thing. Is like you get the movie was kind of out because there's some reviews that were coming out. But to not be able to get a sense of how it's being received in the world, that is really tricky, you know?
And not to be able to talk about it too. And one of the reasons really why why we all wanted to do it is because all of these film festivals, and I really mean this in the bottom of my heart, are so important to the indie filmmaker, to especially the first and second time feature filmmakers, the shorts filmmakers. I mean, it's just, we're all in this beautiful tapestry together. And, you know, we're kind of nothing without the festivals. And it was also important to, if the festivals were going to say, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to figure it out. We have no idea how to do a virtual film festival. We wanted to be there for them, you know, so.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And what's the plan for the film from here?
At the moment, more festivals.
More festivals. Great. Yeah, more of this.
Yeah,
more of getting
and hopefully distribution either, you know, by early next year or at some point next year. It will really depend on when the theaters open again.
Right.
In a, like real way. Yeah.
I just heard a commercial on the radio today that they are opening one of our theaters here in Charlottesville at a smaller capacity. So fingers crossed that's happening sooner than later, obviously in a safe way. And then what's next on the horizon for all of you?
Well, the goats are going to go by in about an hour on the lane where I live in Mexico. And then I'm having some Greek coconut soup for dinner. Ooh. And that's about as far as I can look at.
Right? Sometimes it's good to just have small little, you know, things to accomplish during a day. I kind of need like a big light at the end of the tunnel, but that's been kind of hard to seek out. Are you guys working on any other projects at the moment, or do you have anything that is going to be coming out soon that we can let people know about?
Ask Frank. He's got a bunch of stuff.
Right now, I'm just trying to keep working. I have a little makeshift like voiceover recording booth in my closet that's just big enough to put a tiny chair in with like a little lamp over my head, and I have to kind of hunch down and do voiceover in the closet for any side gigs I can get.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna make that short. That's gonna be a great
yeah, short. It's gonna be Frank inside, like hunched
we're
over.
We're making a short about Frank hunched over in his closet. Actually, I'm serious.
All these clothes are like hanging over my head, you know.
Okay, you can all be in your closet. So it'll be
that's
great.
right. How many filmmakers can we squeeze into Frank's closet?
No, everyone's in their own closet. Very COVID friendly. Sorry.
Yes, exactly.
Socially distant.
Yeah, no, Frank is very busy. Frank is an incredible filmmaker himself. He is an incredible actor. He's in a lot of movies that will be coming out next year, and
Thanks, Laura.
on the festival circuit this year. So Frank is the hardest working, most lovely person in
Thanks, Laura.
this indie space. Very, very talented.
Thank you, Laura.
And
This,
then-
Because I'm the
I
Yenta,
think-
I'll tell you,
I
Mario
can do
and
it.
Laura.
all of you.
Mario and Laura are working on something. Go on.
Tell us.
Another feature. Yes.
Fantastic. Can you give us a little hint about where you filmed it or what the topic is around?
So it's still in development. So we have the scripts, and but we haven't shot it. But it's set in the Brazilian Amazon, and it's a horror, sort of elevated, our house horror. Environmental horror is what I'm
about
calling
climate
it, but I
change,
don't know
about
if that's a
climate
real
change.
term.
It's about climate.
Yeah.
We're making our own genre, but anyway, it's really, really brilliant. It's fantastic. Mario's from Brazil, so
Yes.
that's the connection there.
Oh, that sounds incredible. Well, is there anything else that you guys want to add about Freeland? I personally found it, like I said, absolutely beautiful and quite heartbreaking at the same time, because I have, a mother who is around the same age, who is experiencing the real frustrations of getting older in a society that just keeps shooting forward. And I, as I said before we started this, one of my best friends in the world just experienced having her farm raided in California and having to come back east. And so I know that this is a very real, present reality for people of all age groups who feel passionate about working off the grid, living off the grid, having a really sustainable lifestyle with, the ugly capitalism kind of coming in and changing everything. Like I said, I feel like a lot of people can relate to this, whether you work in, the cannabis industry and farming or technology or hospitality or whatever it may be. It's really important that we remember the people that have gotten us where we are. There would be no flourishing cannabis industry in Northern California if it weren't for people, like Debbie, who kept it going and cultivated it and perfected it. That it's just, so heartbreaking to see this intimate story of how it affects this one person, but to know that it is really affecting a lot of people in that specific industry, as well as so many people just in that age group across all industries. So I think it's such an important story to tell, especially through this singular, lens of the main character. It just really was so relatable and so heartbreaking. So I just thought it was amazing and beautiful, and I'm so grateful that it's a story that you all told. And I congratulate you and I thank you, and I hope everybody goes and gets high after this.
Well, thank you. I would say, we don't, we don't mean this for it to be an issue film. I don't think it is an issue film in the sense of like telling people what to do, right? But I do think if people want to do something better, is if you're careful about the food you eat and the kind of clothes you buy and all of that, be careful about the pot you buy too, because there's a lot of bad pot out there and badly grown with intensive, bad for the environment, grown under lights, and done in ways that are not good for the workers and the people who make it. So just be careful, just do your homework, find out as a consumer what you're getting.
Absolutely. I think it's great you guys show some of the faces of, there are real people that are these trimmigrants. There are real people that are living in these trailers and working crazy hours and having to always be on alert. So I think it was a really humanizing way of showing, that little baggie shows up at your house, but how do you think it got there? There are real people with a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that are putting the effort in to make this beautiful product. But like you said, yeah, check it, make sure it's good, because, there's a lot of different stuff out there. Anyway, I'm just so grateful I got to spend time with you all. I thank you for your beautiful film, and I just wish you all the best of luck with it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks
Appreciate
again
it.
to Chandler
Thank
and the
you.
Virginia Film Festival. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having